Yeah, they're doing it on purpose. I know they are. All right. This is episode 241, oh my Lord, of the Illustrious Gentleman podcast. That's Scott. I'm Ryan. We work in comics. And Scott draws comics. I color comics. We're both working on Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes from DC Comics, written by Brian Michael Bendis. Issue 2 is out on March 8th, is what I hear. Don't hold me to that. That's just the news down at the local tavern, is that issue 2 is out on March 8th.
Around the water cooler.
That's right. You can get all your Tig Show goodies at tigshow.com, and you can support the podcast by becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/Super75Studios. I'm sure there's a link on the website. If there's not, our producer is fired. So yeah, we're going to try to do a podcast here. Scott's busy watching his team struggle.
Lose.
They're struggling, but we're going to move forward because we're professionals here. Scott, it looks like you're drinking Dr. Pepper out of a glass.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, well, so I've been trying to get off the beer personally, not for alcoholic reasons, but for like just swelling reasons.
Health reasons?
Yeah, I'm swelling too much, in general.
You're too swole.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get off the beer, so I'm switching mostly to, although I'm drinking not a lot, whatever. I'm drinking a fair amount of wine spritzers, which I got to think of a more manlier name than wine spritzers. But if I'm just putting club soda in with my wine, isn't that the same as drinking a beer? I guess it's not as many carbs, so it's fine. Let's not overthink that. But for my show drink, I thought I would make my way through. I have like 6 or 4 open bottles of bourbon or whiskey, and they're just been sitting there for a long time. So I thought maybe I'd make my way through them because I am in love with an evening makers before bed. Maybe after the shower, before bed.
In the shower.
Yeah, who knows? I bought these round ice cube things that are it's like 90% round, 80% round. There's a flat spot. But what do you expect? But so today's whiskey in my Jura Scotch glass that I got at Goodwill for 90 cents is my Jameson cold brew iced coffee whiskey.
So bizarre to me.
Yeah, since it's so heavily flavored, it is lighter. It's only 60 proof, so 30% alcohol by volume. And I think I had a glass of this when I first bought the bottle about a year ago, and I don't think I've touched it since. So it's gonna make its way into my digestive system over the next hour, and we'll see where it goes from there. All right, so
nice.
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
It's pretty smooth. It's smoother than like a regular bourbon, but Irish whiskey is a little too smooth sometimes for me. Like I don't love Jameson. So flavor Jameson. I like the IPA Jameson. I had a bottle of that a couple of years ago. That was fun. I think
OG Jameson is fine. It makes a nice whiskey sour. It's got almost like a floral note to it. Not as floral as something like a gin, but it's there.
Yeah, Irish whiskey definitely has a trait to it that maybe it's the peat. I don't know how they do it, but it's definitely different than American whiskey. It's different than bourbon or rye. I think my palate is good enough to tell if I was blindfolded whether I was drinking a bourbon or an Irish whiskey.
Oh, for sure.
I would hope so. But yeah, this is pretty smooth. Like it definitely smells like coffee and whiskey mixed, but it doesn't have any whiskey burn to it.
Sometimes that's the fun part.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know yet. Let's find out. We'll find out. You got anything in your pocket for Tig Talk? Anything happen over the last week that you want to chat about?
Peacemaker wrapped up. I don't know.
Yep.
Maybe we'll do a show on just Peacemaker at some point. Maybe it'll be part of this discussion. I don't know.
Maybe. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, I finished Peacemaker as well.
No. My recommendation right now is to go back in time 2 weeks and watch the previous Wolves Gunners game.
Okay. Yeah. Get in your DeLorean and go back in time to relive the glory days. I'm not going to sit here and listen to you whine about your team that's in like 6th place. when my team is in
7th.
like 16th place.
Fuck.
Oh, that's right. You are. We might be caught up now. That's why you said that. You might be ahead of me. Anyways, the listener doesn't want to hear us talk about this, although feel free to ignore me as usual when I'm talking.
Welcome to the Wolves Gunners commentary.
Yeah. So as we're going to find out when we get into the show topic, I haven't been watching a lot of stuff other than sports. So one thing I did watch the other day was The King's Man is on Prime now.
Mm.
And I like the fact that the only good thing about COVID, besides reducing a population, that's overgrown and needs to be
the Thanos virus.
Yes, is that a lot of these movies, if you just wait a couple of weeks, they'll be on a streaming device. And so I watched The King's Man, and I'm not a huge Kingsman movies person.
But the singular.
The first one was fun. This one is, this is the possessive one. The first one was fun. I don't remember if I ever watched the second one. But
the second one had Channing Tatum, right? Wasn't he the American?
Oh, he was like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen's Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, he was the cowboy.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I don't think I saw it. But this one, The King's Man, the possessive King's Man, even has more of a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen vibe to it, I think. It was neat just because it's not, I guess it is a sequel, but it's not a comic book movie. It's not they're trying to do something different. It's set in the past. So I'm a sucker for like World War II, World War I shit. So it had its moments, but it's hard. Action movies are hard pressed to entertain me these days because it's like everything's been done. So
it's true. There's a certain level of desensitization.
Yeah. But I like the cast. I like Jaimin Hansu. Voldemort's the main character, playing somebody else. Voldemort's playing like Ray Fiennes playing somebody else in this. Without giving any spoilers away, at 2 points in the movie, well into the movie, a noticeable actor plays a role. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, that's weird to like bring this guy in the 65th minute for 30 seconds. But then, of course, it's setting up a sequel probably. But still, I mean, good for them for shelling the money out to fly in, to cast some of these guys.
Was it a deep fake Sean Connery?
No, that would have been cool if Alan Quartermain just walked in, rugged and old as shit, like 90 years old. But yeah, I would say I recommend it because it's free if you have Prime. And if you like the Kingsman movies, then go for it. It's all based off a comic. So anytime a comic guy can make even more money, not that Mark Millar is hurting for money, but, good for...
Doesn't he own Netflix?
Something like that. One of my favorite comics right now is one of his comics, and it's called a Netflix comic. Even though it's published by Image, it's referred to as the Netflix series. Yeah. So good for him.
I've never seen any of them. Never seen any of the Kingsman's movies.
They're fun, I guess. They're okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, anytime, like, I like when people play against type. So seeing like a Ray Fiennes or a Colin Firth, like, fuck people up, that's always fun because it gives old man me, who's out of shape, hope that, maybe someday I could be a Kingsman and fuck people up with an umbrella. So I don't have any TikTok because I haven't done anything.
Oh, here comes Nikita. They're looking for some sort of offense.
If listener really wants the full weight of this episode, get your Peacock, do a replay of Arsenal Wolves on February 20, whatever today is.
Yeah,
25th,
and start this podcast around the 63-minute mark.
Yeah, and then you really get the whole vibe. But yeah, okay, so moving on, I guess, to the topic. Last week we talked about movie. A couple weeks ago we said we're going to do some posse shows. You only have about 14 minutes left of your positude. All right, so we're going to do a kind of a posse show, just talking about TV shows we enjoy. Once again, not necessarily our favorite TV shows, but something that is easily easily absorbed, something we put on that we can just watch while we work. A lot of shows I haven't watched because I can't watch while I work, and maybe my wife doesn't want to watch them. So there's a lot of stuff I've missed, but I put together a handful of shows. But before we get started with that, what kind of stuff, since we've talked about this before, or I've talked about this before, we're about 6 years apart in age, but that's like an entire generation of media. So what did you grow up watching? Like, what kind of shit did you grow up watching? What did you like when you were, let's say, formative, like 10 to like 15-ish?
Okay.
Before you started watching.
At that point, you're sort of out of Saturday morning cartoon stuff, and you're into preteen sort of.
Yeah.
You're looking at Fresh Prince and
like you've aged out of
Saved by the Bell.
Dare. Right. See that right there, that shows your age a little bit. But like, what kind of did you watch? Like adventure? Were you into sci-fi like adventure stuff? Did you watch like 90210? What'd you watch?
I was never a 90210 guy until Tiffany Amber Thiessen came on. And even then, I can't say I did more than 3 episodes before I was out again.
Yeah. All you have to do is record one on your VHS system.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, I most of my stuff is similar to what I watch now. Like when I was younger, it was like Silver Spoons, like Ricky Schroeder, and Facts of Life, Growing Pains, all the shit that was super
I never
popular.
watched any of the sitcom-y things like Family Ties or Growing Pains or.
Oh man, that's just because my family, we just watched TV. Like we were a typical, like I always tell people when they ask me like about my family, like, oh, picture the most normal like nuclear family. That was my family. We had dinner early. We sat down and watched like primetime television. And then when the news came on, I had to go to bed. It was like a super textbook kind of lifestyle with me.
I still have a Pavlovian response to the theme from Next Generation. Because whenever that would play, I would know it was time for bed.
But your mom's a Trekkie, so she would watch it and make you go to bed?
Yeah, I just fall asleep on the couch.
That's some cold-blooded shit.
And Designing Women.
Yeah, the Sugar Bakers, man. Yeah, shit like that. Like I would check out when my mom would watch Designing Women or like Golden Girls and stuff, but for the most part, I was into all of it. Like I had a huge crush. I think we talked about this. I had a huge crush on Alyssa Milano. So like I would flip through my girlfriend's like Tiger Beat and shit. So I knew all the Danny Pintaro and all these fucking actors and shit, child actors. And then when I moved to Okinawa, it was just, there was one station. So you just watched what was on. So it was always like Roseanne, Home Improvement. Like,
oh, sure.
There's only one English language television station when I lived there. So I just watched whatever they broadcast for, 3 hours a night. But yeah, I was big into that whole, like the Family Ties extended universe. Was it Family Ties? Or no, not Family Ties. The, oh shit. You take the good, you take your bad, take them both in there. You got Facts of Life. So the Facts of Life is a spinoff of Different Strokes, but then something else. I think something else was a spinoff of Facts of Life. I can't remember. My memory is failing me. It's all the years of hardcore drug use. Yeah. But yeah, I was all into that. Like you'd have like little crossovers. Like even as I liked comics so much as a kid that even when there was a crossover on like an NBC show, I was like super pumped, like because I knew where they were from. Like if I was 15 right now, I would love the MCU and Star Wars because I know the reference. I get it.
That's right.
Hey, prepared to be happy, buddy.
I know that thing.
Yeah. Look at your TV. All right. So yeah, I was into all that stuff. Nostalgia's big for me. Always has been. I really enjoyed like Wonder Years when it was on. That 70s show is always something
Wonder
I
Years,
enjoyed.
yeah. That 70s show I never got into.
Yeah, but all of that stuff kind of did it for me, Just thinking about better days. What a goal.
Pepe.
What a goal. What a goal from Pepe.
He borrowed that move straight from that neutrino out of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Little spin move there at the end. The shot.
Yeah, so when I listen to this podcast on my deathbed, because that's what I'm going to do. Once I go into hospice, I'm just listening to all these podcasts, and ignore my kids. No one can visit me. I will be searching this out on YouTube and watching it at the 82nd minute mark.
The
That
kids
was about
are
the
all
86th
right.
minute mark. Yeah. So so if we're talking about TV shows that we put on that we enjoy, for me, I like easily digestible stuff that I don't really have to focus on at all, like stuff that I could just have in the background that you could pop in and out of, that I
Right.
enjoy the
Yeah.
characters. I enjoy what the characters are.
Yeah. I
Like
suppose
I don't need them to grow or become
that's one of the
different things.
qualifications, I guess, that I used was that it's something that could be on in the background, or that's like a warm blanket.
Yeah.
It's not super intense. It's not Breaking Bad.
Right. Yeah, it's not stuff that I'm trying to learn from. Like if I was watching like Mad Men or like you said Breaking Bad or something, or even The Americans, I'd be trying to like look into how they told the story. How do you make this episode interesting? Where I don't care about that shit
Right.
when I'm just putting on chicken soup of TV. But I had a little bit of a difficult time coming up with this list because when I worked from home and I had really good internet, I streamed TV all day long while I worked. But now I don't do that anymore. And when I come home from the studio, the first thing I look for is sports. Like I'm going through a midlife crisis of obsessed with sports. So it's like I'm always looking like any soccer game on where I can even remotely enjoy. I'll watch that, any racing, anything like that. So I don't really seek out or watch a lot of TV anymore unless my wife and I are watching it together. And a lot of those are prestige series that wouldn't fall into this category, Like I would not put on Raised by Wolves to have a great time watching TV.
Peacemaker might be one of these shows where you could just put it on.
Yeah, it could be easily rewatchable. Okay, so most of my list is comedies, but I also have a couple cartoons and I have some action shows, and I have a few reality shows. So where do you want to start? Where do you want to start, Gunner?
Oh man. Why don't you just shoot one at me? I don't have too many. This was a list that's pretty short for me.
Okay.
Of stuff that I can just put on.
All right. So this first couple ones, most of these I've watched straight through at least twice, if not more. But How I Met Your Mother is something I've watched while I worked multiple times. Again, it's not groundbreaking comedy. It's not pushing any boundaries or anything like that. But it's the characters are likable. It's again, it takes zero brain power to enjoy it, and I like it. I don't really care about the premise of it. Like I never really got into the fact that like Ted can't find love. Like that didn't matter. Ted is actually the worst character on the whole fucking show. Anyways, the main character is the worst. But yeah, I enjoy all the other characters. He does go through like a lot of attractive women. So you'll have an attractive woman have a guest starring role for like 6 episodes. So that's cool. If you're me, middle-aged white guy. Yeah, I dig it. I mean, it never got too heavy. It's just a fun, easy.
Yeah.
Show.
I
don't like the last season, but
yeah, I gotta say I've never ever watched an entire episode of that series. I almost kind of hate it.
It's got Kobe Smulders. Smolder is her last name.
It's one of those things where all the pieces in it have all been in better things, and I don't know. It's kind of like catching an episode of Castle or something, or like or whatever other garbage. No, who's Chandler? What's his fucking face?
Matthew Perry.
Matthew Perry's ever been in. Yeah. I just think. I mean, it's a super popular show, and it made everybody a shit ton of money. But I don't know. As a piece and other things that all of those people seem to be really passionate about, and the fan bases seem to be really passionate about, to go to something else, something like this, like Allison Hannigan coming from Buffy, where everybody Just love that fucking show. And for the majority of its run, like it was really good. And Jason Segel's done a lot of good work in other places. And Colby Smulders is in the MCU now, where even the worst movie is like better than any episode of that show. I don't know.
Neil Patrick Harris peaked at Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris is the rampant womanizer. Yeah.
He's just horny, man. It's not his fault.
I have, but it's Neil Patrick Harris,
right?
I have no.
Oh wait, are you saying on this podcast that homosexual men can't play straight men?
Also, I think he's funny looking.
You're canceled. He is funny looking,
and like he's in the body of a dweeb, but on the show he plays like Joey from Friends.
Yeah, he looks like a baby who did a lot of meth. Like a soft face that's also crunchy.
Right.
Squish.
If I were going to cast one of the Guardians from Green Lantern, I would cast Neil Patrick Harris as that.
As Kilowog, if you don't want to do any
just
makeup.
Because he looks like he's going to fall over because his head's so giant.
All right. So, yeah, it's fine. I enjoyed it. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, on my list, it might be the thing. I think I've watched it all the way through like 3 times.
I get vibes from certain things where it feels like, oh, this is the Walmart of so-and-so. And if that's what that and Big Bang Theory feel like the Walmart of sitcoms where it's garbage.
How dare you compare Hyman with fucking Big Bang Theory?
Yeah, they're both on the same network. They're both equally popular.
Whatever. Bazinga, what's next?
Yeah, great. Not the only. I'm going to start off with one I know you won't. You won't sign off on because it's animated, and that is Futurama. Like, it's all my 8-year-old has been watching for the last month and a half. And I laugh every time I walk through the room. God damn, that's a good show. And it develops an amazing amount of heart as it goes on. It's like, oh my God, this is great. Like peak Simpsons were the Conan O'Brien years, like seasons 4 to 7.
Right.
That was as good as it got. And the height of Futurama is better than any of those. And it's better for longer.
I never got into The Simpsons, so Futurama was just something else I didn't like.
Yeah, those early years before it turned into what would eventually spawn Family Guy, where it's all just references to celebrities and movies and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Futurama isn't. It's not. It's not a contemporary show. It's set 1,000 years in the future. So it can't play with the same sort of gimmicks. It's forced to be clever and inventive, and it does that very well.
Yeah, I mean, I do have 2 animated series on my list, but they're not comedies because I don't like to laugh at drawn things.
Animated series that aren't comedies.
Maybe it's because I'm such an artist. I believe so strong in art. And art theory and art practice is I think if you're going to go through all the effort of making a cartoon, it should not be funny.
Even if the intent is to be funny, and if it meets that goal, if it achieves that.
That was a joke. I don't give a fuck about art,
yeah,
but I at least wanted to be pretty. I understand how to say this. I understand the level of skill that goes into making a Futurama or a Simpsons, but it's not visually attractive to me, so I don't give a shit.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. It also, one of the things it does, it's like in 80s sci-fi movies with all the future 80s tech, where all the screens are still like CRT and You know, all of the computer input stuff is still like
Critical race theory.
It's like DOS or is it CTR? What's it's CRT, isn't it? Right?
I don't know. I understood
Screens
DOS.
like old school TV screens with the bubble.
Yeah, like a tube TV.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's like it's before like modern the influx of super like futuristic modern technology that we have like today. There weren't cell phones and shit, so you still get a future that's still limited to like stuff that they had at the time. So instead of teleporting like in Star Trek, there's like suction tubes like at the bank that transport people around. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, much like Futurama, this conversation has gone on too long.
Too long.
The next show.
Oh, and it's coming back on Hulu.
Yeah, I know. I'm boycotting it unless they get the real Bender.
Yeah.
The next show.
That'll show him.
The next show on my list is I always credit you for putting me onto this show, but I think I love it more than you, and that's New Girl.
Yeah, I still have to get through it.
There's not a character, again, much like How I Met Your Mother, it really falls apart in the last season when they try to button up 8 seasons worth of shit. That's why Seinfeld was so great. It just ended. Like these shows that try to button up everything in the last season when they know it's the last season. So they're going to give a short order and try to finish it all up. It's garbage. But there's not a character in New Girl I don't like. You know, like they are all just fantastic. You know, I'm in for some CC and Wilson mess around. I'm in for fucking Coach whenever he's around. I still, at some point in my life, before I die of a heart attack in the next 6 months, I want to play True American. You know, like I just want to fucking do it, man. I want to fucking have fun. Those dudes are having fun. Obviously, you know, they don't have to like worry about bills and stuff. It's fantasy. You know, it's like the rings up in that fucking loft. But yeah, it's fun. I like the relationship between Nick and New Girl, and it's just good.
Yeah.
Oh, Jess, Nick and Jess. Yes, it's in the song. Her name is Jess.
Yeah, I have liked every bit that I've seen of it, and I should go back and just put it on and finish it. He did it! He finally got one. Look at him. Oh, man.
Hang on, I'm going to write down in my notes.
It's math.
And 29.
You know, when you give yourself 20 chances a game, it's going to go in eventually, and that's it.
Okay, we're back after a quick edit.
Oh my god!
Arsenal won in the last minute. Definitely won for the. This is a mixed media kind of podcast. It's lots of stuff going on. You even have a video playing behind your head, so anyone who watches on YouTube can watch multiple things.
They look pretty excited.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Okay. So, New Girl, I'm into it. You've watched some episodes.
Yeah,
you dug it.
And I do like it. I do like it. I think it's very clever and funny.
Yeah. In my mind, you recommended it to me because you were like obsessed with it. But in your mind, you were just like, oh, I saw an episode. It was fun.
Yeah. It was one of those shows where I wasn't ever the one in the house watching it. But whenever I would walk through the room or something, I would think, oh, that's funny, even out of context. I think that's funny and clever.
Yeah, even all the guest stars. What's his name? Long. I
was just thinking about him.
All the stuff in the 90s.
The bit where he starts dating the other girl and she gets so upset. I thought, you know, you were just the Asian me, but I'm really the Caucasian you.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, all the guest stars on that are great. All the people they date is fantastic. Cece is, I mean, her job is to be the straight person, but that's right. Yeah, painful. Yeah, it's great. And like I said, I really do want to play True American at some point. I would love to just like get a hotel room, set up cameras, and we'll do it for the show. You know, big show exclusive. We're going to play True American. I got to look up the rules for that. But yeah, so those are the kind of shows. I mean, people are seeing where my list of comedies lies. It's that stuff. I don't have like Friends on here, which would be the precursor to all this, just because I don't think Friends is nearly as funny as a lot of people do.
It doesn't hold up for me.
No, no. It's on a lot in my house because my wife, like me, she likes to just watch stuff that she's seen. She doesn't have to think, she has a real job that's stressful. So when she comes home, it's always Seinfeld or Friends. And both of those shows, Seinfeld, I like because you can jump in and out of, but like Friends.
Yeah, there's no continuity.
Yeah, Friends, I don't give a shit about. I don't really like any of the characters. I find them all to be annoying.
Yeah, a lot of them are low-key awful people. Not overtly like Seinfeld.
Seinfeld, right.
Which has probably still my favorite series finale of all time.
It's great because it ends and they're in jail, right? Or
yeah, I always thought that's how Sex and the City should have ended, with everybody just going to jail for being awful people.
Yeah, they should all be evicted in Sex and the City. Like they should all just be homeless in the last episode because they're horrible people. All right, so what's next on your list?
Something I just jotted down because I was thinking about shows from my youth that still sort of just make me feel good or safe,
At this point in our lives, anything that makes us feel anything is a positive, net positive.
That's true. I guess that's why I liked Boba Fett so much, just because it made me feel things. Even if it's rage. X-Files. I wrote down the X-Files. I never finished the series. I never got all the way to the end. After David Duchovny leaves, it kind of falls apart for me. I never watched the Robert Patrick years. And
Annabeth Gish. Robert Patrick and Annabeth Gish took over.
But but those early seasons are I don't know. Are they good? I don't know. That's debatable. They might not be. And David Duchovny's character is seriously problematic.
Yeah, I've rewatched some of the first and second season in the last few years, and I don't think they hold up. But I think it was so unique at the time, and I think the concept holds up well. But I think
it still gives me the same feeling.
As soon as they leaned too much into the mythos and got rid of the monster of the week shit, I was over it.
Yeah, on rewatch, I was not interested in the alien stuff at all. I could not give a shit about the alien conspiracy and then the black goo and all that garbage. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, the same thing happened to Fringe. When Fringe was just a Monster of the Week episode, it was great. When it got too much into their own story and like everything's connected and all this shit. Like,
alternate realities and time travel are my two things that make my eyes roll back.
But you don't understand. In the other Fringe world, Manhattan only has one T. So that's how you know.
Right.
That's how you know shit's weird.
Let me see your show me.
Yeah, X-Files is good. I think I was living overseas when that started, so it wasn't something that was like they're picking when I was living over there. Like I said, one station. They're picking the top. They're picking the top like 20 shows, 20 network shows, and that's all you get to see.
It took a bit.
So it wasn't something that I was presented to. So I probably watched it all when I got back to the States.
It was a phenomenon here. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, by the time I started watching it, by the time I would put an episode on, I was probably like a 6-pack in, so I couldn't tell you the nuances of it.
I remember TV critics thinking that Briscoe County Jr. was going to be the hit of that TV season, and X-Files would just fade away.
You're the Briscoe County Jr. of this podcast. The next one on my list might be on your list, but it might be too recent for you to even thought about for your list. But infinitely rewatchable is Ted Lasso.
That's on my list.
I will say that the impact of it becomes lessened, obviously, when you rewatch it. But there's still the nuances, like the little jokes, the little mannerisms. All of that is still falls into that easily digestible stuff without me having to be overwhelmed by the emotional stuff.
Yeah, I just rewatched season 1 this week. I put it on while working, and it's still as funny, but there is now, knowing what's coming, there's this I don't want to call it dread, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know. It's like watching from a helicopter as somebody in a car goes speeding towards a cliff.
Yeah, I need to rewatch season 2 because I remember when season 2 started. Obviously, you don't know the back half of how the season's going to go, so I was like, "Oh, this is disappointing." It's like marshmallow fluff. The season 2, it's fucking lazy. It's weak, and then it all wraps like it's so. I admire those people that can write that well. That they're like, "Look, we're going to lull these people, almost bore them, almost turn people off the show for a couple episodes, and then we're going to reel them back in for that heartfelt finish."
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do season 2 or just watch 1 again, because right now football is life.
That's right. Yeah, Danny Reyes is my spirit animal. It shows a lot of trust in their audience that they knew they could pull that off, and it's amazing kind of writing that they're like. I think it's amazing writing that they're like, look, we're gonna purposely maybe put some people off as a decision we've made just to make these character arcs be what they are.
There's so much talent in that room to take this. It was essentially a promotional joke for NBC Sports,
right?
And turn it into this thing.
All the characters.
It's like when they made didn't they make the fucking Geico cavemen or something into a sitcom?
Yeah, it didn't work out quite as well.
Yeah,
it wasn't as critically acclaimed, I think, as Ted Lasso.
Yeah,
but I like with Ted Lasso. I like that even in the second season, when they had to do bottle episodes because they didn't write 10 episodes, they only wrote 8, so they had to do the bottle episodes. They're so obvious bottle episodes. Like, they don't even give a shit to try to pretend that it's anything more than what it is. It's, we got to fill 30 minutes of entertainment and we're going to do it. And they're great.
Yeah, I don't care.
So
the more time I get to spend with all of them,
I have another show coming up later towards the end of the conversation that's also on Apple Plus, and I will pay $5 a month or $6 a month for the rest of my life to have access to Ted Lasso and this other series. Even if that's all I watch. Like I said, right now I'm watching Raised by Wolves. That's interesting. We'll see where it goes. Who knows? But I mean, I would pay $5. I might pay $5 a month just to have access to Ted Lasso whenever I want, even if I only watch it like once a year. It's. I like having it at the touch of my fingertips. I can watch Coach Beard and Ted in the airplane going to England. And when he says, "Hey, when we both dream tonight, let's dream about each other," or let's
pretend like we don't know each other. Yeah, you got it, stranger.
That's what it is. So good. I need to rewatch it, man. Okay.
Yeah, Roy Kent still my. Will forever be my guy.
Yeah,
I just fuck. I love that, man.
You guys have a lot in common.
I was never good at school, so what do you say? We get out on the pit, get out proper fuck about. To a bunch of 5th graders or whatever. My fucking shit fell over.
I know. I saw it. All right, I'll jump into. Do you have any more like live action comedies? Because I'm going into some. I'm getting out of comedies here. So what do you got left?
I've got my other Brett Goldstein series, Derek, that I rewatch pretty regularly. I've talked about that enough on this show previously. People know.
I still haven't finished it.
Great.
And I'm still not quite sure if it's problematic or not. So I don't know.
It's in the same vein as Ted. It's just feel good stuff.
Yeah, it's very sweet and innocent, kind of like a lot of Ted Lasso. All right, so earlier I mentioned animated shows, but I don't care if they're funny.
Do it to it.
Justice League Unlimited. go ahead and throw Batman the Animated Series in with that.
Okay.
And I'm one of the weird dudes. Like a lot of people like the early seasons of Batman the Animated Series where it's like moody and noirish. I like the last season where it's like new Catwoman, new Robin, new Batman.
The figures
design.
are a little more stylized.
Yeah,
the
Glenn Murakami took over. Yeah, Glenn Murakami took over from Bruce
Got the
Timm.
new Robin costume.
Yeah, like and you start having crossovers with like Static Shock. You have crossovers with Batman Beyond, I think maybe, or maybe just Justice League of the Future. I could be confusing that with Justice League Unlimited, but again, I don't have Justice League on here. It's only when it went to the expanded cast of Justice League Unlimited where I really think it came into its own. I remember watching that first because I used to watch this with my kids because I really wanted my kids to grow up reading comics. So I would always watch this with them when they were like little, like toddlers. We'd sit down, we'd watch Justice League. And then when Justice League Unlimited, the first episode of that show is the Green Arrow, Black Canary. And Green Arrow's like hitting people with boxing glove arrows and shit. And I just remember thinking like, holy fuck, like I can't believe this is on. Like I can't believe I'm watching this. Like nowadays, that wouldn't be a big deal. But at 20 years ago, seeing this kind of overtly superhero shit on TV was a big deal, even if it was a cartoon. And it wasn't just made for laughs, which was the big deal. I mean, they had some, I guess, trying to be comedy. I don't know. Nothing's funny when it's animated to me. But they also had like serious action pieces and serious like Wildcat hated himself so much he fought in like a superhero fucking UFC, superpowered UFC because he wanted to punish himself. Like it's just great shit.
I don't get it, man. You're like, I don't know. You're like Mando with droids or like James Caan in Alien Nation. You just got this prejudice you can't get over with funny cartoons.
Well, maybe if they looked like Justice League Unlimited, if they were designed by Bruce Timm and Glenn Murakami, but they were funny, then maybe.
Like Freakazoid.
Freakazoid's fine. Even Animaniacs is fine because Animaniacs is zany. I don't need like an adult. I don't need
It's in the song.
I don't need a. I don't. I don't need an adult comedy animated because I'm an adult. I can watch live action animated comedy.
Even when the animation's like purposefully bad and funny, like South Park or. Yeah, I've never seen like BoJack Horseman or.
No,
any of that stuff.
I used to get drunk every night when I worked at the record store, and people then liked South Park when it first started. And you know, when you're a 6-pack in, South Park's funny. But I'm not going to put it on now. You know, like I'm not going to put it on completely sober, you know, and enjoy it.
Okay.
But yeah, give me the DC, not the entirety of the DC animated universe, because once they go away from the Bruce Timm kind of verse, I don't give a shit. But Justice League Unlimited is great epic scale animated action, and I'm here for that.
Yeah, I've never seen any of that stuff, and I keep hearing good things from everybody. So at some point, I'm going to have to make it.
It's on HBO.
A priority.
Max. Yeah, you could just watch it.
HBO.
HBO. Okay, what do you got?
What
next?
Channel?
The other day, wait a minute. My wife never listens to these, so I can say this. The other day, my wife's looking for movies, and she was looking for movies on like Prime or something. And I go, well, you should look for movies on HBO Max. I mean, we pay for it, and it's got the best selection. And she goes, they show movies on HBO Max? She thought it was just like Sex in the City and like, you know, whatever. And I was like, it's in the title, home box office. She holds a doctorate, so who am I to say anything? But yes, they show movies on HBO Max. Okay, what's next? Sorry.
Again, another show that we have talked about ad nauseum, Justified. I'm due for my rewatch. I haven't started that yet, even though Mr. Sexy himself cameoed on our favorite show of the year. Yeah, I need to get back to it because it's been too long. But since I've visited Harlan.
Do you have a certain time of the year when you watch it? Like, do you normally start it around the same time?
No, I don't know. The mood hasn't quite struck me yet. So I don't know what that mood is exactly. While it makes me happy It makes me happy just because I enjoy it so much, not because it's happy. So usually, yeah, like I've been reaching for other things. Like I went through Derek already this year, and I went through Ted Lasso again. You know, it's the early part of the year so far, and that's sort of the shit that I've been going for.
Yeah, I mean, Raylan is inherently kind of a miserable dude. So it's not like a feel good. It's a feel good show because of how he acts it.
Right. He
But
is
there's
the
also
angriest man Winona's ever known.
yeah, and that's part of the charm about it is if you're of a certain disposition like I am, Raylan's kind of always he's true to himself, but it's always kind of a front. Like he's making quips and shit that he's making because there's other people there. If he was by himself alone in a hotel room, it's just a bottle of whiskey and self-doubt.
Well,
and
that's
self-loathing.
everybody.
Yeah, but that's what I like about it is that he is when he's out in public, he's putting on a persona almost the way a lot of us do when we're out in public. But he's really just a miserable son of a bitch who just falls ass backwards into situations and women.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, like the characters from almost every show on our list so far has daddy issues.
Yeah, Justified might be the one show that would be in my favorite shows of all time list. Like it'd be somewhere in the top 10. That is also it's the most rewatchable one on that list. You know, like The Wire is not as rewatchable. Deadwood's not as rewatchable. The Americans are not as rewatchable. Like
it's a tone thing.
Yeah, it's just because it's almost, and there are certain episodes that are just like almost like basic television. Like they're just going through the motion. They're just expanding the story. Like it's not as heavy as a lot of other shows, but it's so well done that it makes that list.
It's a good version of a CBS show.
Yes,
it's sort of formulaic. You got the arc of the season. You know, there's going to be a next season, so you know he's going to be okay. Yeah, but it is a tone thing. Like those other shows aren't trying to push the same buttons.
Yeah, it's like
that's prestige TV stuff. That's stuff where you sit down and you're supposed to pay attention, and it's the shit that people are going to be talking about next day. But I don't know. This is just sort of it's very, very well done escapism popcorn TV.
Yeah, it's like what if Castle or Bones actually gave a shit about being good?
Yeah,
as opposed to just getting to the next commercial break.
Yeah, that was always my problem with both of those shows. It's like I watched Angel and Firefly. I mean, there's no way that these two can think anytime when they walk on set for either of these shows that they're doing better work.
Yeah, speaking of, so Justified was next on my list, but you just said it. Firefly is next on my list.
Oh.
I have watched it, I think, 3 times, so I'm not like a fucking dork-ass brown coat or anything, but I have watched it like 3 times through, and as we get further away from it and we realize maybe we don't need more of it if someone's going to be in charge of it, but I kind of like it, the fact that it's 10 episodes in a movie, right? Or I guess technically it's a movie in 10 episodes or something like that, you know? Like
all of it is consumable pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's all consumable. It all kind of I like that I can binge it over like a week or 2 and I'm done with it until I want to watch it again. And it's all well done. I appreciate the fact that it was like on a budget, so it looks a little cheap and they had to make creative decisions, you know, to tell those stories and to have that show. It had to be made, you know, with budget in mind and with other things in mind. It's great.
Yeah, it looks stars. Like it was. It's one of the magical things about that show is that it really does suspend disbelief in a really sort of hard, like realistic, practical way, because you look at it and it looks like it was a show that Fox didn't want to pay for. But but once everybody starts talking and things get going, you don't think about it.
But it's also unique in that if you're watching a scene and there's nothing has to do with spaceships or other planets, that it just becomes a Western and you just accept that it's a Western and you don't even think about that it's another planet. Like it's Old West on another planet.
Yeah.
You don't even think about that for most of the episodes.
Right.
Well, then all of a sudden the spaceship shows up and you're like, oh shit, that's right.
Every planet is just north of LA.
Northeast.
It's all dirt and shrubs. Yeah.
Let's give Barstow some credit. Firefly is something I can just throw on. All these shows, just throw it on. It's enjoyable. It introduced me to the magic of Christina Hendricks. It did a lot of great kind of fun stuff. And the movie's fun too. The movie is like, oh, what if we had a bigger budget, but they kept the same vibe? It's fine. I like it all. It's good.
Yeah, yeah. Does the movie look better?
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah. A little bit.
I always thought he was a limited director. Like, even the Avengers movies look like TV shows. They're shot like TV shows. Especially
if you watch the first Avengers now. Did he do the second one too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you look at those first two compared to the Russo brothers Avengers. It's like, oh, did they make these 40 years apart? You know, like, but I mean, also the Jon Favreau, like Iron Man, it looks like it was made for TV. If you look at it now, you know, like, it just, things are progressing so fast. That's a whole different show about the progressive tendencies of directors and major films. What's next on your list, man?
I've exhausted everything on my list.
Ooh. You don't have any reality shows on there? You don't have reality shows that you can just sit back and binge or like,
I mean,
while you...
Sure. Yeah, I guess so. I never think about them. I never seek them out.
That's kind of my point. There, I do have one on my list that I do seek out, but the rest of them, it's just, oh shit, I come across it and I realize I can watch. It's not on my list, but I could watch Diners, Drives-In, and Dives.
I really enjoyed. Yeah, that one's okay, I guess. I really enjoyed.
Town, baby.
I really enjoyed Man vs. Food when it was on because he would always eat the shit that I would eat.
Yeah. And he looked like me until the end when he didn't look like me.
Yeah. And I always enjoyed that one. Nailed It, I think, is very entertaining. But no, I don't have anything else. Like me, I'll put on some of those like survivalist shows every once in a while, or like tiny house shit, or like there's just one on Hulu. It's Impossible Builds, something like that. People buy and like design, like they want to live in weird places, so they buy these kit houses that they transport there, and then they have to put them together in like 48 hours and that sort of shit. I find that interesting just because I like to build stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like escapism, right? When you're watching those kind of shows, you know, like, oh, this would be fun. I could do this. It's different. Like anything that's different, especially in a reality show, anything that's different than your everyday. Like my everyday routine drives me absolutely fucking nuts. So I'm always looking for new stuff. So when I watch like Chopped, you know, like I'm like, as soon as they give the basket ingredients, me and my wife are like, well, I would make this, I would do this, because for like 4 minutes of my day, I'm doing some critical thinking, I'm doing some problem solving, you know, out of the box thinking, you know, what am I going to do with that dragon fruit? Dragon fruit's pretty good. Well, you don't know. What are you going to do with that fucking, you know, other shit? Durian. I think it's
zucchini.
Yeah. Smells like butt. Yeah. Like, you know, how do you make the butt smell go away when you're cooking that?
Yeah.
How do you make squash tasty? Don't give me that spaghetti squash shit either. It's fucking garbage. But yeah, that kind of stuff. So I'm into Chopped, Beat Bobby Flay, just because, like, I don't want to like Bobby Flay, but he makes me like him. You know, like, fuck, I hate, like, God damn it. You know, he's so frustrating. He's got cats and shit. Like, I should hate him.
Pounding Vaj.
So we're like the target audience for Beat Bobby Flay. My wife and I were like, they gotta beat Bobby Flay, and they fucking almost never beat Bobby Flay. Sounds like aliens are invading on your side of the house.
Something in the garage is going off. There's like an old dollhouse buried over here somewhere. I was going to say, it's making noise.
It It's the ghost of the dollhouse.
Yeah, it must be a ghost. Anytime anything that with a button makes noise and it's not pushed, it's a ghost.
If you like cars at all, then Top Gear has like 20 seasons. I recommend. I don't know if they're all available on Prime, but Top Gear's fun.
I would think so. I mean, I'm a guy that wants to like cars, and I also like British accents. So it seems like a show that would be for me, but I just never give it my time.
Yeah, Top Gear is great. The new one on Prime, the Grand Tour is pretty good. I recommend that as well. But my last recommendation my last show on my list of reality shows is The Long Way Up, Long Way Down, Long Way
Round.
Yeah, they're just fantastic. It's everything I want, and it's not yet. It's everything it's everything I want in adventure shows and travel shows. I guess I didn't put No Reservations on here. Parts Unknown, No Reservations. Even the Chef's Tour. So the Bourdain shows and the Long Way series both hit me everywhere. It's all about traveling. It's about being immersed in traveling, which I enjoy. It's about enjoying traveling, enjoying new experience, which is what, like, I think we've talked about this on the podcast before. Like, I will oftentimes drive a different way, like, to work, just because it's different, you know, like, who knows what I'm going to see if I go out of my way to drive to work, you know, or it's never anything, but it could always be something. And I'm always excited about that. Could be
something.
Yeah. So, I would recommend any of the Long Way series. I just saw there's a commercial right now with Ewan McGregor in it, and he's walking through a building, and there's like cars and models and perfumes.
So for crypto,
I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm like, that's my first thought is, please, God, don't let it be a fucking crypto commercial. And then he actually walks past a blown up. You know, Batman has the penny in the Batcave. He walks past a Batcave sized penny, but it's a crypto. It's an Ethereum coin. And I was like, motherfucker. And then he opens a door and it's a beach and it's an Expedia commercial to get out and explore the world. And I was like, thank fucking God that Obi-Wan. I mean, how am I supposed to be jerking off to him next month when Obi-Wan comes out if he's a crypto guy? Kill my boner. So, super, super excited. But yeah, travel shows, especially if it's sort of travel shows that instead of telling you things, let you experience things. I'm into that. That I think that we've talked about that. I've talked about that to death on the show. That is my dream job, is a show where I get to travel for next to nothing. I really want to do a show where you travel on a budget. Fucking sleep on floors, you know.
That's a reality show.
I'm sure it's out there, but I don't know.
No, that could totally be your thing. Here's $600. You got to get to here.
Yeah, couch surf. You know, do whatever, you know, like however you got to get there. I don't want to hitchhike. That's a little weird, but, you know, ride boards, you know, whatever. Act like I'm a student. Are you going to Sacramento this weekend? I got to go home to Sacramento. I'll pay you gas money. There you go. I'm out of shows. I just want to travel and laugh. And those are what the shows I watch do.
Cool.
And watch, Green Arrow shoot fucking punching boxing glove arrows and shit.
Yeah, aerodynamic.
And I want to see Black Canary beat people up in a cage. I'm into that kind of shit.
Because she's a canary.
Yeah. Sure. There's the episode where there's the episode that mimics that comic by Todd Knock where all the adults become kids. That's 2 episodes in Justice League Unlimited. Batman's a little kid who gets frustrated because he's a little kid, but he's still like Batman, you know? So he's like, fuck. And Wonder Woman's like, it's very sexist, but Wonder Woman's like, hey, like he's cute, whatever. Like she's being like, it's dumb, but it's good. You know what I mean? It's problematic now. Like Wonder Woman should be the dominant and Bruce should be the sub because we all know that's how it is in real life.
That's how it is in his personal life anyhow.
Sure. Take the mask off.
You know he's paying for some weird shit.
For sure. Hopefully he's not killing them afterwards because it's the only way to keep your secret safe if you're a billionaire. But or you get an island and you just fly people to it and you secretly record them.
No, well he's down with the mask stuff, so it's all eyes wide shut shit.
Yeah, step on my balls with your fucking high heels. Doesn't matter. I don't care who's wearing the high heels. Just make sure you crush those things. All right. Tight hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. It's good. Excellent TV. I feel like people that are listening to these Posy episodes are just like, oh, this is all they talk about all the time anyways. Fucking Ted Lasso, aliens. Whatever.
Yeah, well.
Watch them. Remember when we were going to do a Justified podcast, and then we realized it would just be us watching Justified with no commentary?
It'd be a silent episode, 45 minutes of nothing.
Yeah, we get into a fist fight over whether Ava or what's her face is better.
Oh,
what's her name?
I have opinions on this. Winona.
What's the blonde?
I already said.
Oh, Winona. See, I'm a Winona guy. You're an Ava guy.
No, I'm a Winona guy.
Oh, I thought at one point you gave me. It's a whole different podcast.
Sorry, that was folks. Somebody else.
Okay, yeah. No, Winona's the winner, but
I am
both
Team Winona.
They both have problems. He doesn't need either of them, and I'm happy that he's moved on from both. He's cleared his schedule of those two ladies, and now he's going
working on himself.
Yeah, now he's going to Detroit with salt and pepper hair.
That's right.
I'm excited about it. Even sexier, older Raylan. Okay. Anything else? Oh, do you have any recommendations? I have one. Do you have anything?
No, not anything other than I've talked about already.
The other day, my wife wanted to put on a horror movie, and she put on The Hitcher from 1986 with C. Thomas Howell, Rutger Hauer, and Jennifer Jason Leigh. And I had seen it, obviously. I had seen it at some point in the late 80s, early 90s, but if you're looking for a horror movie that really fucking holds up, The Hitcher is the way to go. It is fantastic. It's even got a little thinker in there. Like, is this even happening? It's got one of those things in there. It's good, man. I recommend it. Other than the fact that, spoiler alert, Rutger Hauer brings down a helicopter with like a fucking pistol. That's a little... What are we on Tatooine all of a sudden? Shit ain't really happening.
I don't know what that means.
He used the Force. All right. Congratulations on the Gunners, Scott. Send us out of here.
Oh my God, yeah. Fuck. I don't know. Bye.
Oh, I recommend the Jameson cold brew Irish whiskey.
Okay.
It's barely like drinking. If you want to drink whiskey without feeling like you're drinking whiskey, and you like cold brew black coffee, this is the drink for you.
Sure. It's a room temperature Irish coffee.
Yeah, except I had my ball of ice in it.
Ugh.
It's good. Tasty. Highly recommended it. All right. Good night. God bless.
We're going to need it.
Fuck yeah. We're all going to get fucking drafted.